I want us to become brothers again like we used to be, and for us to find ourselves and bond with each other. Can we agree to that?
Opinions vary.
It's late August and we're looking back on summer 2022. So Anders, Aaron, what did you think of it? Was it a throwback to older summer movie seasons?
I think it's the first time since 2019 where you have a proper movie of the summer, right? Top Gun Maverick, which actually like captured audiences, and movie theaters were actually full.
I saw it twice.
So you saw it twice. I'm actually going to see it again this week.
Yeah, because it's so good.
And it's still playing in theaters.
It's back in the IMAX in Toronto. I might go again.
This was also like, if the summer movie season starts in May. I think May was the first time obviously since 2019 that I saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 films in theater in a month. And I saw most of the like big movies this year, and and a few streaming releases as well. Particularly that pair of basketball streaming movies, Rise, the Giannis Antetokounmpo movie on Disney, and then Hustle on Netflix, which I enjoyed both. They were fun.
Oh yeah, I enjoyed Hustle too.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good sports underdog movie,
Yeah.
and it was shot in some aspects of the story were sort of like raw enough that just like gave it just enough of a difference, even though it goes through all the beats.
Anton, did you hear that the guy, like the Juan, how do you say his last name?
Juancho Hernan
Gomez signed with the Raptors for this year. So.
Oh really? Oh wow, yeah.
But I saw the big Marvel movie, Doctor Strange, whatever. Saw Top Gun a couple times. Saw Jurassic Park. Saw Elvis.
Oh yeah, I forgot Jurassic Park came out.
It was a big movie. It was a big hit too, right?
And then in August here, I've seen like Nope and Bullet Train. So it feels, in a Bullet Train, it's not the greatest movie, but it definitely has like it feels like a summer August release, like maybe like throwback to like, I don't know, like The Transporter in like 2004 or something.
It's an
like
absolute
that,
August. It's like made for August. That movie.
You need those movies in August, right? Like the sort of like, and it's been like a modest success, right? But like you need that kind of like action movie just to sort of fill out.
There's
August.
actually not enough August releases this year. Like that was like the last major one.
Well, it allows you to go back and see Top Gun again.
Yeah, I mean, I do kind of want to see Beast. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, it looks interesting.
The Idris Elba fights a lion.
The other monster hunting movie to compare with Nope.
I want to go see. I will go see the George Miller.
Where he plays a genie.
Yeah.
Well, George
3,000
Miller
years
doesn't play the genie.
No, Idris Elba.
Idris Elba does. Yeah.
Yeah, George Miller, this big Australian guy. No, it's funny. I think like the presence of Jurassic World, right? It's not a good movie. We had the episode about it, but I think its presence in the summer movie season actually makes this kind of like a proper summer movie year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you have a few big ones, right? Like there was a Marvel superhero one to sort of start
we didn't see
things
Thor.
off
I didn't see
early
Thor.
May.
I didn't
see Thor. Thor actually made more money than I thought it would.
It'll
It was a big
hit Disney
too.
in a week, so I'll just watch it on Disney.
And I saw the big animated movie of the summer. I saw Minions.
Anton's a gentle minion now.
Do you wear a suit when
I
you
do
went?
know someone who was a gentle minion and wore a suit. But my boys, they laughed a lot. I still just defend the fact that like it's not a particularly good movie. But out of animated movies, and you might compare with like say like Disney's Lightyear, like it's kind of nice to have just like a cartoon where it's like it's literally about
Like Looney Tunes.
stupid little cartoonish characters doing stupid things, sometimes violent against
Getting
each
like
other.
anvils dropped on their head. and stuff.
I think Minions would be better if they got rid of the whole Despicable Me stuff and it was just like these
just have the
little
minions doing
yellow
crazy
guys
stuff.
attacking each other.
I'm trying to think what else. So yeah, we talked about obviously Nope this episode, Elvis last. And Elvis has been a pretty big hit. It's been the nice like not prestige but like biopic counter programming of the summer. It's been holding really strong.
Mm-hmm.
It made like I think it's like at 150 domestic. So it's like that's a solid hit. And then also something I think none of us have seen Where the Crawdads Sing, but that made like 70
that was a big
to
hit.
80 million.
Yeah.
It was based on like a book that like a lot of people have read.
Read the book.
It's on the shelf.
Yeah, my wife read it as well. And but I feel like I heard nothing about that, but like it quietly made, 70,
Because-
80.
Because everybody read the book and they wanted to see the movie.
But that's good. I mean, it's good for cinema when you have like those sorts of movies just making like a quiet good amount.
The other like summer movie, like I saw some movies this summer and I don't think you would count them as like a summer movie. Like I don't think Fire of Love, that Volcano doc I saw, is really a summer movie. It's just like released whenever it's released, right? Like same with Cronenberg's Crimes of the Future. It's not a summer movie. It's just when it was released after Cannes. But something like Scott Derrickson's The Black Phone. That's totally a summer movie, and it's been a big hit.
Yeah. It costs like what? How much?
18 million or something.
Yeah, and it's made 88.
Yeah.
So it's like 88 domestic. It's like one of these movies where it's like the profit is huge.
It was good. Like, it's not great. It's got elements that are, it's
I'll watch it around Halloween because.
but it's gripping. And
Was
it's
it
fun
the
to
only
watch.
well, I mean, I guess no, but like sort of like full on horror movies this summer? I'm trying to
Yeah.
think. Well, you saw Bodies, but
God, let's not talk about that. That's just trash.
enough said.
The fact that I see people online being like, and like, people I respect their opinions of and stuff, but being like, yeah, it's like, it's kind of poorly filmed and written, but it's very smart. And it's like, what? No, it's just slush. Like, there's nothing there.
Almost makes me wish that Ambulance would come out in the summer as well.
I know. Ambulance would have been it's such an August movie it could have been.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Ambulance was it should have been an August release, not in April.
And then there was a couple of like direct to streaming movies, like on you mentioned Hustle.
You saw
but
some
there
of
was-
the action ones, right?
Yeah, I watched The Gray Man, which was a huge hit. I get
Was it?
at least by Netflix
Yeah.
standards, tons of people watched it.
The
And
Russo brother.
I do think people underestimate the sway of like Gosling and Chris Evans as like stars and stuff too. Like, a lot of people watch it just because it starred Ryan Gosling.
And he hasn't. When was the last time he made a movie?
For First Man.
That's a great film.
I think a lot of action movies, that kind of an action movie that's set in like kind of the real world,
It's glow popping too.
but they're also the kind of movie that like the people who really like those sort of movies, like it plays well on home video, like
Yeah.
or like like on streaming. You're like
It's like a dad watches after a ball game kind of
exactly. They might not go to the theater to watch it, but they're like happy to watch it on the weekend.
And then I also watched that Spiderhead back in June, which is Kaczynski's other movie he made this
yeah.
summer. I found it weird. It was like based off the George Saunders short story.
Yeah,
from, like, he had in the New Yorker.
I ended up reading that story in the New Yorker after I
How was
your
the
review.
story? Because I haven't read it.
Wait, are we talking about like George Saunders,
Like the guy who
actor?
won the Man Booker. No, the guy who won. He wrote Lincoln in the Bardo, I think.
Yeah, it's like he's a contemporary writer. But the short story was interesting. Yeah.
And it's an interesting concept, and I liked Hemsworth and Miles Teller's pretty good in it.
I'm
stuff.
curious
It's
how the
just-
movie would work because I should probably watch it because the short story is very like bare bones and like
Yeah, that's the
mostly-
thing. It seems like it's sometimes when short stories turn into movies, right? They're stretched thin.
I feel thin, sort of stretched, like butter scraped over too much bread.
Well, it's not that it's quite a long story. It's just that the way it's told is mostly through the internal monologue of the main character and then some dialogue. Like,
Is it spies or what is it?
no, it's like experimental
Prison
drugs.
experiments, yeah. That make you like, this makes you really hungry. This makes you really horny.
Yeah,
This,
gotcha.
it's pretty messed up in some of that stuff. And like Chris Hemsworth.
Well, the
being
story I found the short story
goofy
quite
guy.
disturbing, so. The what else did I enjoy? Yeah, and then I've actually been getting back into watching a few movies. I rewatched some like old ones, watched some of those noirs, and I've been rewatching the Batman movies with my boys. So. The Christopher Nolan Batman. So
Oh yeah, so good. My lame thing, my extremely lame comment is like my two most memorable like theater going experiences of the summer were not movies. They're plays. So like seeing the Harry Potter play, I just thought was like phenomenal show.
Was it?
Like just the magic stuff is insane. It's so
Okay, cool.
good.
In terms
Like,
of illusions.
No, in terms of spectacle,
Okay,
it's like
cool.
wonderful spectacle. You can have quibbles with the whole like legacy
plot,
sequel
but,
thing going
like-
on.
but it's a good performance.
And then we saw Les Mis in London.
oh man, the best. It's the best.
Which was, like, so good.
What I love about Les Mis is totally getting off topic, and I actually almost wish the movie had been more like, because like the set that they use in Les Mis is like the way it rotates in that huge.
Yeah.
like,
It's a new set now.
Oh.
It doesn't rotate. What it is that it comes in from the sides, and the whole thing is that it's an infinite depth of the stage. Like you
Oh.
cannot see the back of the stage.
now I have to see it again
And so it was very good. The guy
But-
who was Jean Valjean was excellent.
because the historic set was like this giant rotating like piece. It was super cool.
Was there any old movie you guys saw that kind of stood out to you that you saw this summer? Yeah, that's sort of like, somehow connected, or you're like, I'm glad I revisited now.
Or ones that I never
Revisit
seen
or
before.
like a first time?
or
first time.
seen it first time, either.
The two movies that I watched for the first time that I
But
think
that sort
are
of
like
popped out for like this summer, like in your back.
the two that I think about like the one that probably actually the one that I think about the most this summer, because again, it's so different from many movies people would make nowadays. Was actually I watched Jonathan Demme's Something Wild after Ray Liotta died in beginning of June, and it's so good. I was like, I actually like it's really really great film, and it has like the colors, the pop. It's interesting. David Byrne did like the music and some of the songs for it and stuff too, which it was this follow up to Stop Making Sense, but it also has like. There's some like dangerous and like because like it's about this guy who like ends up following this girl on this like journey to Jersey, you know, and it's sort of he's like an uptight like accountant played by very young Jeff Daniels, and Melanie Griffiths is this sort of loose cannon girl, and he ends up joining her, and she's like daring him to kind of like join her on like the wild side kind of thing, and like, you know, skip out on work and do this and that, come with me to this hotel and do all these things, and then you meet her like ex-husband played by Ray Liotta at this, and he's just like terrifying, like, but also magnetic performance. So the colors pop. It almost like reminds me of like say like a late 80s like Spike Lee, like the Reds and everything in New York City. So it's a film that they just don't make anymore, but it feels like a real summer film because it's like the color and the music and everything like that.
How about dessert?
Yeah, let me have the Rustler's Rhapsody.
Rustlers.
Just coffee for me. Darlene,
In a flash.
you don't mind, do you, Ray?
Charlie, you gotta be out of your mind. You don't know what you're doing.
Charlie, you are one dumb son of a bitch. I'm almost starting to like you, Charlie.
And then old classic I watched that I'd never seen before was Umberto D, which that'll break your
Oh,
heart.
that's heartbreaking.
If you love dogs and you love Italian neorealism, it's so good. Yeah.
For rewatching, I rewatched the prequels after Obi-Wan.
Nice.
As a corrective. Anton, you'll be happy I rewatched Waterworld back in end of June. And I was like, you know, this movie is like wonderful, like quite well made, and it's like a pretty decent adventure. It's not great. It's pretty goofy, but like it's totally a serviceable summer blockbuster.
Yeah.
You know, so movies that you throw on because it's like, you know, a summer night and you just want something like comfortable and great. The two movies that I watched the other night, I watched Ronin. One of my all-time favorite films. Like, no joke. I think it's like, it's so good. You talk about a dad movie, like that's like such a dad movie, and it's paced so well, and the cast is impeccable, and it's just they don't make them like that anymore. And then the other one I threw on one night, like a hot night in end of June, was Fist of Fury, Bruce Lee, which I still think is probably his best, where he's like fighting the Japanese guys.
That is a good one. I really like that one. I also revisited Tenet because I feel like every summer after I revisit it and I'm like, can they just erase people's memories with the Men in Black stuff and re-release it in theaters in like when it can pack the theaters of the new Nolan, and then people can actually say it blew their minds.
I know. It just sort of like it's sad that like that Nolan movie, which is like it's so big, and like
It's such a huge film for like such a simple film in a sense.
just didn't get the like attention it could have had.
And Anton, I keep revisiting Dune. So
How many
How many
times have you
have you
now?
watched it now?
I think I've seen it 8 times.
Oh my goodness, he's sicko.
I've only seen it twice.
Spice-addled sicko. No, I watched
My eyes are bright blue now.
a couple movies I revisited over the summer that were sort of good summer movies. I watched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1 and 2 with my boys. The first one holds up a lot. The second one doesn't. But
Ooze.
the first one, I was like, this is actually a really good movie. I had the review on the site. I also watched the other night Pirates of the Caribbean. The first one with my boys.
I
and
rewatched
was
those
like,
the last couple of years.
it's good.
Was it a bit
good.
scary for them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They kind of really liked the the pirate
Ghosts,
the
yeah.
ghost pirates, but
It's such great special effects.
I was like, it's a great blockbuster, and I'm looking forward to rewatching the second one, which I remember is having the most amazing fights.
The wheel, Anton.
The wheel fight, like I actually watched the wheel fight scene recently again. I was like, it's incredible.
Also, Anton, do you agree with me though? Looking back at those films, the actor who I think is the most underrated and one of my favorite is Jeffrey Rush as Barbossa. I love him. So
Barbossa's really good, but everything in the cast, and like I
Yeah.
have to say, like, I think watching it again, I was just like, you know what, Johnny Depp's Jack Sparrow, like a lot was said about him then, but you're like,
Hilarious.
that'll be the role he's remembered for.
It's an iconic movie character. It's an amazing character, and it's a great performance. And the combination of like the slapstick and the pirate and like what he's doing there, it's great.
You are without doubt the worst pirate I've ever heard of.
But you have heard of me.
And the one other movie I watched for the first time with my boys was the Mitchells versus the Machines from like last summer.
Oh yeah, that's good. That's good.
And like I was like, no one. It was an animated movie, and like I really heard almost nothing about it. And I was like, this deserves to have been like.
Well, it's
a bigger
Lord.
movie.
It's
It was
a Lord.
nominated for an
Isn't it Lord and Miller?
They produced it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, produced by them, and I think it's directed by the guy who did Gravity Falls.
No.
No?
So
Or-
it's directed. So Mike Rianda worked on Gravity Falls.
Okay, he worked on Gravity Falls, but
and
he's
Alex
not-
Hirsch did an uncredited rewrite of the script.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it's very of that kind of zany sci-fi, really quick references and stuff.
Yeah.
But do you agree that the two robots are like hilarious?
The
ones
robots
that
are
are like
hilarious.
screwed up. They're like the jokes are really good.
The whole movie
No,
is
but
funny, but it's also like a really good family movie. But like family dynamics, and then I also love this just like a robot apocalypse brought on by kind
By
of like
Amazon
the
Alexa.
Apple or Amazon,
Yes.
like of that world. Like,
Do you just the question with Pirates of the Caribbean? Do you agree with me that Orlando Bloom and Keira Knightley are like essential to its success?
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
Actually, on rewatch,
absolutely.
I thought that they're better than I always thought that they were when I originally watched it.
And it's actually wasn't when you get to the third movie also. I think
Which I don't remember at all.
Knightley and Bloom. The third movie is better than I remembered it, but it's way too long. It's like 3
Okay, I
hours.
just remember that like
You might have to take 2 nights. It's literally
like-
literally 3 hours long. It's like Lord of the Rings length.
I just remember that whirlpool and like
Yeah.
sucking everything in.
But-
And just sucked my brain out.
What they do with their plot is both, I think, pays off really well, but is also like almost like heartbreaking and stuff too. It's like it's actually quite good
Oh yeah. Also, this summer for some reason I've watched Fifth Element twice.
because one does. It's the most
So a
entertaining
friend
movie
just
ever made.
friend was like, "Do you want to watch Fifth Element?" And I'm like, "Sure."
I should probably just go watch it right now.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Goodbye, Mr. Bond.
I bid you farewell.